women, better value each other, because society so often these days devalues what we both bring to the table, and we're always out here trying to outstruggle each other. You have it harder, or I have it tougher, and everybody has it tough, because life is a tough thing, right? Life can be hard. It doesn't always have to be,
right?
But it can be tough while we're trying to figure it out, while we're trying to make it and go through and reach our destination. How do we, Mr. Day, let me ask you this: what would you feel? How do we as men better understand the value that women bring? What's going on, family? Kevin and Jesse here, and Miss J with you guys, the Elite State of Mind podcast. As always, our goal is to listen, learn, and grow. Miss J, how you doing today?
I'm doing well.
That is great. Jess, how you doing today, man?
I'm great.
That's good. That's good. Family, if you guys would make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram page, go ahead and hit that little bell on YouTube so that you get notified every time we come to you guys and help you listen, learn, and grow on Wednesday. What we're going to talk about today is valuing the right relationships. Really interested to get into this one, because especially in today's society, there is a misappropriation of value, and we don't often make the right transition in valuing relationships as we should. So the first thing is, what is value? And then how do we assess it in relationships? Ms. J, to you, what is value?
I can say value is what I see in us.
Okay.
Pretty much. Far as you, me, where we're going, what we're doing, where we're going, how you value me and how I look at you as a man and what I feel like you should be doing for us. Like we spoke about earlier, far as having roles. So yeah.
Talk about it. Go ahead, talk about it. Yeah.
Far as what I feel I should be doing as a woman, and what I feel like you should be doing as a man, and valuing who you maybe can have the potential to be, or who you are to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll stay right there.
Are those two things different? Who I have the potential to be and who I am to you?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
What would you, as a woman, what is the difference?
I could say that it's different for me because I see different things in men. Like I could see, and you may not be there yet.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I hearing you speak, watching your actions, watching how you treat me or what you say to me, I see where this could be.
Okay.
Like I see the potential in you as your full self man. Is that something?
Okay.
Because as it may be somebody in the state of being a young man.
Yeah.
But you see them as being where they can be as a grown man.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But not devaluing who you are currently and what you're doing for yourself and for us in this relationship currently.
Okay. Oh, not devaluing what you are currently.
What you are, yeah.
That's something big right there. Jesse, speak on that for a minute. How do we not devalue the other for where they are, right now?
Oh man, sometimes it can be tough. Just because us and our humanness and our nature, we want what we want right then. Right? So we devalue an individual because, man, you know where you're supposed to be. You should be here right now.
Right.
But oftentimes they aren't. Right? And so
Facts.
so we remove, the element of grace that should be given to them because they too are human. At the same time, however, when we've had some time.
How long must we walk together?
How long before we say, enough is enough and you really don't want this life. You're not about this life.
And that's, as the Apostle Paul says, should we continue in sin that grace may abound?
God forbid.
But I do think it is big that we, give each other the space and grace to grow.
Right.
Yeah.
But, it's not just an infinite amount that you're going to get in any relationship, whether it's, we're friends, whether it's our children, whether it's, with your significant other. You cannot just continue to run amok in the relationship and continue to be, as the young kids say, toxic these days. And that's what brings, so many relationships to a halt, is people will abuse that grace. They will abuse potential.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and you definitely you see that with a lot. You know, with a lot of men is that they have the potential for greatness.
Right.
And as a woman, you know, as you said, Miss J, you see that and you're like, okay, we can get there. You know,
Right.
you may be trying different things to, you know, help the bro out or something of that nature, and he just won't grow.
Right.
He won't grow his value.
Yeah.
And that I really feel in relationship that's where you have a lot of issues.
Right.
I mean, you just think about your kids. If you stay at the, you know, if you stay doing 1-year-old things, but you're 10, we have a large issue there.
Right.
Right.
Where's the growth?
And there's got to be some growth. How do we assess value in relationships, Miss J?
I've recently learned to be grateful. Okay, I know. I've been ungrateful, but I'm saying to be thankful and actually verbalize that thanks. You know, so no matter what it is, big or small, no matter what the person may have done, thank you. Remembering to be thankful. You know, you never know how far that would have taken you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
with that person or with the situation. So gratitude.
Okay.
And getting outside of myself, learning to not be the interesting one, but to be more interested in my partner.
Okay.
Shall I say?
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
stepping outside of personal, mental self and being grateful for.
Right. And I think that has to go into the empathy that we were just, you know, being taught, you know, about with our mentor. And just if you speak on that, you know, just for a moment, how, you know, as we grow and we, you know, matriculate through life, how do we grow into that empathy?
Increasing emotional intelligence. So if I'm understanding, this is why it's important to read and be a reader.
Fundamental.
If I'm able to,
It's the building block.
it is because as you grow, you begin to self-evaluate. You're looking at yourself and seeing where you can improve, what
it's a
you
lot
need
of
to do. Right? Right. That yearly assessment, that semi-annual. You know, you're looking at what it is that I have and possess. How do I move from just pure potential to real life progress?
Right.
Okay, and I do that, excuse me, by, you know, again, increasing my knowledge and understanding, increasing my ability to think.
Right.
Right, and I do that by applying myself to reading, increasing my emotional intelligence, so I understand, you know, my behaviors, right, are a result of my level of emotional intelligence. Okay, so the empathy that, you know, we're working towards having more of that. So that's a higher level, right?
Right.
Something that our mentor said. It's a higher level of emotional intelligence. Why? Because I go from, like you said, thinking about me to thinking about you.
Right.
Thinking about what you're going to need.
Right.
I'm going to anticipate. We've said it before. I'm going to anticipate the needs of another. That's operating with empathy.
Right.
Man, if I say this inside of this behavior, is this the right behavior? Or is it one that I feel
I need to do?
Right.
Facts.
Right. Too oftentimes we operate on feeling. And when has feeling ever steered us in the right direction?
If not put through the faculty of reason, I don't know when we can say it has.
It hasn't.
Because
nor will it.
I don't know if any other equation other than your faculty of reason can guide your feelings in the right direction.
Right.
And see, personally, that's what's hard for me. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm emotional. And so I carry emotions high. You know, there's different situations that occur where you become impulsive. You want to respond to it without being like, man, y'all kind of logic, facts, break it down a little bit more in detail, you know, than us as women responding quickly will.
I understand.
So I can say, you know, working on those emotions and channeling in on that's something I've struggled with personally. I can feel that from Jesse, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think, you know, when we go to assess value in relationships, there is a danger in just assessing the potential value of a person, because at some point in time we do have to be real, as you said.
Yeah.
Right.
When does the actual growth take place? Where is the action in that, so that your value becomes it becomes a return on investment.
Yes.
Right? And not just a debt to
Right,
me.
right.
Because if our relationship is solely a debt to me, at some point in time, I have to balance the books.
Right.
And I cannot continue this, taking on this bad debt,
Right.
so to speak, because there's good debts and bad debts. And I can't continue to take it on if you're never bringing me any type of return.
Yeah.
But then how do we determine how much value, we ourselves bring to the relationship, or can we? Because maybe I put myself up here
Right.
at a level 7 or 8,
Right.
but I'm really down here. I'm 3 or 4.
That confidence.
Yeah.
It's important to have, but
Right.
yeah.
Is it confidence? Is it a false bravado?
Yes.
Okay. So speak on that for us real quick.
Yes. Because, it's tough to be able to evaluate, the value that you bring. But you have to be honest with yourself
Right.
as to what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. And then you can give a good assessment, right, as to where you are and what areas you need to improve. So if out of these, let's just say these 5 areas that I'm only strong in 2 of them, right, you're not a 7 or 8. You're just not.
True.
Right? Because 2 out of 5 is what?
For like 30%.
Okay.
Like that. Okay.
That's an F.
Unless we're playing baseball.
Okay.
I'll be
Now, if we're playing baseball,
I'll be a good 2 for 5. Yeah, I had a good day.
You're a Hall of Famer, okay? But this ain't baseball. This ain't baseball.
Right.
Right? So, yeah, we got work to do.
Okay.
And so, a lot of times, because especially in society today, it's all about, push yourself up, pat yourself on the back for everything that you do. And we're all for celebrating the small things,
Yes.
small
Right.
victories,
Right.
right? But in the same token, we got to be real. Like, hey, man, you're not the greatest. The issue we run
You're
into
not the
is
GOAT.
everybody's the GOAT. Like, everybody, I'm the GOAT of Nintendo, or you're the GOAT of whatever. Like, what? Like,
Right.
be real.
Sure.
Okay? Yeah, that false vibrato,
The self-proclaimed goal.
right? You like you said, your self-proclamation is a joke. Let other men/women praise you, not you yourself.
Right.
Right? Keep it all in perspective. Because if you're busy doing the work, you really ain't got time to say, yeah, I'm the greatest.
Facts. Those are facts. And then
Yeah.
too often we get on our own soapbox.
Yeah.
And we will, I'm the greatest ever.
Yeah.
And have accomplished nothing.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
guilty.
Uh-oh. Okay. Miss Jane, but
I am so guilty.
Oh, no.
let me ask you
I
this.
told you I'm in my journey. I'm
for sure.
relearning this new person. Well, I wouldn't
Yeah.
say she's new. I would say she's evolving.
Okay.
As I get older, I am coming upon this you season for me.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I feel like each age it's probably gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
But oh my God, Jesse, what he was saying, like I feel like before when I went through this you season, I learned so much about myself to the point where I'm everything. Like
Okay.
I can do this. I'm well rounded. I can do
Yeah.
hair. I have no teeth.
Yeah.
I run a track. I know how to work out. I mean, I was well rounded.
Sure.
I felt, and then as I get older, I'm like, well, I need to double back in and tune back into my youth season again, and relearn some things about myself and realize, yeah, you're not that good at organizing like you thought you was.
Okay.
Got some
Fair.
stuff you need to
Fair.
do.
Sure.
You need to work
Yeah.
on. And I'm like, dang,
Yeah.
I mastered it years ago.
Back
I
then.
thought,
Right.
yeah, and then so now I'm coming
I feel
upon
that.
it again. It's like
Yeah.
redoing it, relearning a different way of how I could get better and better
Yes.
at
Right.
this that I thought I was great at.
Facts.
So
Used
I-
swords must be resharpened.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I'm looking at now I got some flaws
Okay.
that I can work on
Okay.
again and master it and
Yes.
get better. And I know as I get older, it's going to be a time or a season where it's going to double back around and do it again.
Right.
So yeah, it's a journey.
And especially when you're assessing the value of you, self-awareness is key.
Oh my goodness.
Because like both of you
Yes.
stated, in your own mind, you are going to, no, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked the question, can we? And I don't honestly believe that we can assess the value that we're going to bring in.
Yeah.
Because if you do, you're always, I think it's just human nature to tell ourselves that we're the greatest.
Right.
To tell ourselves that we're doing things the best. But until we gain a humility and allow somebody else, whether it's a friend, a mentor, significant other, to come in and say, well, you are doing these things, well.
Right.
But over here, like Jesse
Yes.
said, these other three, you suck.
Right.
You're garbage.
Work to do.
And there are things that we can
And
do.
that's hard to hear.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, especially when you feel like you've been doing it right this whole time, or who you was all right this whole time. Now you got to, wait, you know,
Right.
It brings upon that question, you know, what are you trying to say?
Yeah.
Right.
What am I doing wrong? You start to feel that.
Sure. How for you, Miss J, you know, whether it be in the relationship setting or just in you know the setting of friendship, when somebody brings you that and they kind of knock off the value you thought you had,
Right.
how do you not be confrontational
Or defensive. That's the struggle.
especially men
That's
to
the
women
struggle.
when we're trying to the goal, as we talked about in the episode of Safe Spaces, of the goal, the objective to win. How do we, if my value isn't where I thought it should be,
Right.
how do you take that?
I first reiterate what you just said back to me. I mean, back to you. You know, like, so you said what? You know,
Okay.
I'm sensitized. I'm trying to take on this conversation.
Sure.
And then I've recently learned to write it down,
Okay.
what the person said, and, kind of double back on it, and then ask questions like, well, why did you feel that way? Or, how do I see me versus how you see me? Because I thought that I was doing this great.
Okay.
And it turns out that you don't see that part, so it's a battle. I feel like it's a everyday self-awareness, work on this type of deal without trying to be confrontational and go off on you for telling me something.
Right.
Understandable.
Because you're saying it for a reason. You have to be, or you feel that way for a reason.
Right.
You're not picking on me, or it's not a bully situation.
Right.
You feel you're not attacking me, and I have to learn that in relationships. I'm not being attacked.
That's right.
You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? You're not against me. You're not here to belittle me or make
Okay.
me feel less than. You're actually trying to help. And you see something in me that can be greater because you've learned me.
That's good.
So it's hard not to get defensive against some of criticism.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yes.
hard not to get defensive against criticism. That's the journey. So like I said, again, I just try to channel in on the information being given and not feel like it's a target.
That's true. And fellas, let me say that, as Miss J said, you've learned your partner. It's something Jesse and I have talked about. The study of your relationship and the
Right.
study of the person that you're with.
Right.
I do not know if you can actually assess a value on how great that is to learn the person you're with and to
Right.
study them. As Jesse said, do you take notes?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you
Absolutely.
know do you know more than their favorite color?
Right.
Do you know what makes them upset, why it makes them upset, and how they're going to react?
Yeah.
Just based upon that, what makes them happy, why it makes them happy, and how they express the happiness.
Right. And actually write it down.
Yes.
Yeah,
You're literally taking notes.
Yeah, I read something about that. They were saying it helps in relationships to get out of yourself and get more into your partner and learn the part of love language, knowing your love language or theirs.
Yes.
Write stuff down, things about them, and randomly do acts and works of what you wrote.
Yes,
Not the
right.
bad stuff. You done wrote down that doing this gonna piss them off. Not
Don't do that
necessarily
more,
do it. Yeah, let's skip that part of let's
I left the socks out again. Take that.
Now, when you get upset, and you can do little games like that. No,
I feel you. Jesse, as growing into your manhood, what is the importance, if you can quantify, the value that's brought as a man, to study your significant other?
It's invaluable because I'm the responsible one. There. So, part of my responsibility is to know you. In order for me to know you, then I have to, take a course on you. So I have to sit in silence and actually watch how you move, how you react, how you deal with your friends, how you deal with your family members, how you deal when somebody cuts you off on the road, how you deal with your coworkers, your responses to all of these things. They're imperative, right? So because if I know these, then when you deal with these things, I have the answer to all of these things. And so if I'm going to be in relationship with you as a man, I have to have the answers to these things.
Right.
While you bring the wisdom, I'm going to bring the stability. And it ain't just about the finances.
Right.
Right? It's about the emotion because it's my job to protect.
Facts.
So part of that is, listen, I understand you're emotional right now, but here's why. Here's what I've learned about you. Now, would you agree with this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Then let's not do that.
And I think that plays in knowing how to talk to her.
Yes.
You know how to communicate with the woman, because there's certain things, even though you may have an answer to, she may not be willing to listen to because you put the answer out, she can't hear it.
Right,
sure.
Because how you said it, but no, or the words you use.
Right.
So I believe knowing how to communicate with that makes a difference.
Yeah.
No, that's
part of the
That's
study.
part of the study.
That's part of the study.
Yes, that's part of it.
Yep.
Do we communicate well based upon the study that I've done? That even if you are being emotional in this time,
You can hear me.
Yes.
Is it the best time for us to talk?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe I just need to listen right now.
Right.
You just need a container to pour
Or
into.
just get
Right.
that out. Yeah. Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Hold up. I promise I'm gonna hear you, baby. I just need to say this real quick. Dang.
Right.
Told you we emotional.
Right. No, that's true.
For real.
And how is it that we can, in the relationship setting, men to women, better value each other? Because society so often these days devalues what we both bring to the table, and we're always out here trying to outstruggle each other. You have it harder, I have it tougher, and everybody has it tough because
Right.
life is a tough thing,
Right.
right? Life can be hard. It doesn't always have to be,
Right.
but it can be tough while we're trying to figure it out, while we're trying to make it and go through and reach our destination. How do we, Mr. Day, let me ask you this: what would you feel? How do we as men better understand the value that women bring?
That's a good question. I don't know how to answer that just yet.
Okay.
I don't know how to answer that just yet. Because I'm learning to not make my struggle someone else's. So what I'm battling and struggling, I'm trying not to pour that on a person to make it to where those are your issues. They're not. It's... Oh gosh,
But in turn,
it's hard to word these words that come to mind. I swear. Get back to me.
Okay.
All right.
No, well, maybe let me pose this question. In your growth, in your journey, how have you maybe reassessed of the value that a man can bring to you?
By giving him tasks.
Okay.
I'm learning to, like we spoke about, delegating a man to do certain things, get out of my masculinity and more into my femininity.
Okay.
And realize that, you don't always have to be in survival mode.
Sure.
You don't always have to do everything yourself. And it's okay to value a man and trust in one to do certain things for you. So by giving them tasks, delegating them to certain things to take the load off of me. So, and then by me doing that and you being able to handle it, it puts a little bit more value on you as a man for me in this relationship. I think, especially when it gets accomplished or it's handled a certain way. And I'm like, yay, I didn't have to do it. You did it. You got to do it. It makes me feel good. So it makes me value you even more, as an asset to me. Not that you need a man or you got to, it's not in that realm, but it's like, I needed you. I guess I did need you to do that for me. It's kind of like a insight, like,
sure. Yes. And you hear the statement. So now, especially in our relationships, that many women will say, "I want a man, but I don't need one."
Yeah.
And here's just my disagreement with that on both sides, right? Because what we often feel like we don't need, we over time don't want. And that can
you don't no longer have the need for it, huh?
We just run into, because I only wanted it. Well, the next time something new or shiny or the next model that comes around, because this doesn't hold the same amount of value because it was a need, I can easily get rid of that. I don't have a fear of this not being in my life. I don't have a fear of this person, this entity, and all that they bring to me existing outside of who I am. So therefore, if you leave, it's okay. Go ahead, go on. Instead of, man, I really need you. Like I need oxygen. Like we heard, E.T., Dr. Eric Thomas talk about
Yes.
when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, you had the need for life, so you were fighting for that thing.
Right.
But if all you want is it, okay, it can go on, it can pass.
Yeah.
Jesse, how do we, in getting that, how do we assess that, that need instead of the want and the value between the two?
Well, like you said, that want is what brought that man to meet the guru at the beach, right? And it wasn't until he was in those deep waters.
Oh, deep water! Shout out to the deep water.
Till he kept coming, come a little further. Now, I'm gonna hold you down here. Nah, you're not ready. No, you're not ready. It's the thing that you go through there that's gonna increase the value and transition you from the want to the need. There's an old church song that says, "I need thee." Oh, I need thee. So you want, don't you think in your relationship here on earth that you want somebody, that's their expression towards you, right? It didn't move from a want, oh yeah, I want you, to
I need you.
I need you.
Right.
I can't live without you. I gotta have you.
Right.
That I think is the pinnacle of the work towards relating to another person. That you go from I want you to.
So it's okay to need you.
It is okay.
Yeah.
It is okay. Most people feel like it's not, like, I don't need nobody. Like, I don't need no woman. I'm finna because that's something that we hear as men all the time, then we don't feel like we're needed. And one thing women have to understand about a man is that if we don't feel like we're needed there, we're going to go to a place in which we are needed. Whether if it's temporary, okay, I was needed there for that temporarily. Yeah. Or if it's long term, well, listen, you didn't have a need for me because you are the man.
Facts.
You operate in more masculinity than I do.
Right.
So you don't need me. Right. So I'm going to go somewhere else where I'm needed so that everything that God gave me and made me can be put to the exchange every single day.
Yeah.
Right.
See, and I battled that because that's how I grew up. Sure. Because watching, I'm using my mom for an example. It's a little personal, but I would watch her need a man. I mean, my whole life, she's never been single. Never. I've never, ever seen my mom single. Sure. And so growing up, I've developed that mentality, listen to married couples, my aunts and stuff like that, And it just got to this point where in my mind, I was like, I don't need a man. Okay. It put me in a survival mode.
Right.
Yes.
On trying to do things by myself and not need a man because I've watched her always need one. My whole life, she never was trying to do it on her own or make something happen by herself. Yeah. And so it changed my mental. And then now here I am today having to unlearn that mind frame and remember that it's okay to need a man for certain things in life. Like you can't do it all by yourself. Like we talked about me and my my splash plate underneath my car in my little dress and heels with my yoga mat out and I'm on knees in 109 degree heat trying to get under there and fix it myself because I'm just like, I'm not going to ask. Yeah. And then now I'm sweaty, need to shower, change clothes, couldn't make what I was needing to make, the reservation or whatever. So but if I would have just delegated that task and asked for help, and I would have been in that situation.
And that's, I feel like that's something we all have to learn. Is just because I can do it doesn't mean I should.
Yes, because I'm on YouTube looking it up and everything like that. I'm like, shoot, I done did this before. I done changed the alternator before, which I have.
Right.
So YouTube taught me that.
That sucks.
It was in a little Nissan. It was actually pretty easy. I didn't struggle that bad, but YouTube taught me. But that's because I've had to learn to be in survival mode, especially being a single mom and being out here, woman by myself. I've had to learn to do certain things. And I realized that mental don't have to carry with me for forever. Right. Some things I can take my hands off of and allow help to take place.
And that's the big thing, especially for people of color, in the Black community. If we will learn that we can help each other get out of survival mode and get back to thriving. Yes. That, we did for, centuries. Right. And then even, you talk from the time that we were here in America, we built this nation into what it is. Yeah. But we did that, from a very deep rooted communal sense of, this person would be a farmer, this person would be a banker, this person would be a doctor, this person would be a teacher, and all of our assets and all of our resources would be in this community before we ever had to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's where we place the greatest amount of value.
Yes.
But then when we, went into survival mode and we went out and we dispersed our assets and resources, in other places, it began to devalue our relationships one to another. Me to this man and you to this, me to this woman. And then you feel it now that things were so far, out of range and out of whack.
Yeah.
It just placed a great struggle upon us. Like you said, we have to learn to, it's okay if we ask for help.
Right.
That it's okay because now we're going to thrive.
Yes.
And that should be our goal. That inside the relationship, let's thrive.
Yes.
Opposed to what, society teaches us is you can do it by yourself. Well, sure, I can. But there aren't, as we talked about earlier, how many great men didn't have a great woman with them.
Right.
And I believe, I'm pretty sure it was Steve Harvey that said this, that you'll find a lot of good men. You can be a good man without a great woman. But please find me a great man that didn't have a great woman. But until, I know I asked you the question, and I really feel like, for men, if we really tune in to the value that women bring us, because, again, if you're of the household of faith and you get into the Proverbs, shout out to Mama.
Right.
Again, right? So the wisdom that Proverb brings, and it always refers to wisdom as a her.
Yeah, in the feminine state.
Right. And if we will understand the wisdom women can bring us, that they are great teachers. Right. Right? And they have an ability to speak to something inside of you that can calm you down and make you go, oh, okay. Now sometimes we're just gonna be bullheaded and go do what we do. And we need, and you have to let us do that, because then we'll go, my bad. Right. Because I know you said don't hang out with Johnny and them. Don't go into business with them cats.
Give you an opportunity to apologize.
Right. Right.
And then we can, really dial in on the value that women bring us, because it's just going to perpetuate us, to so much greater heights than we can be by ourselves. I just say, how have you understood, as a man, man, let me take a step back. And really dial into the value of this wisdom.
Well, like you said, man, just reading it and understanding, the actual state of wisdom. It kept saying over and over again that she stands, she's calling, right? So there has to be something to this, reading again, reading about Pontius Pilate, his wife, being troubled before the execution, before the judgment on Jesus. Like, I was looking deeper, just not at the fact of, okay, yeah, this is what happened.
Sure.
Why was this woman? Why did she come to him in his position of power, like knowing that his word was the final say?
Right.
And she said, "I've been bothered in a dream a couple of nights about this. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know what he's done, but you might want to leave him alone. You might want to leave him alone, right?" And this guy decided not to listen. And so instead of going down in history as one of the greats to do something, he went down on the opposite side of being a goat. He was a literal goat because he didn't listen to the wisdom, right, of the woman that was placed in his life. So you're understanding that, okay, first, it talks about the wisdom of our mother.
Yes.
Now, how many men grow up, go through life and get to a certain point in age and go, well, I'm grown now, so, I'm going to make my own decision. I'm not going to listen.
I myself am guilty.
Right? So we have to understand that the gifts given to our mothers, right, to speak into our lives, that comes directly from our Creator.
Right.
And as long as they're here, they have that ability to do so. They know some things about us that we don't know because we were formed in their womb.
It pleased him.
Right? So there's a certain level of connectivity that's there between them and God and them and us. So if you understand that that's what's taking place between you and your mom, how much more so is it that the woman that you have in your life has that same ability to have that same connectivity to our Creator?
Right.
And so why would you be foolish enough not to value her opinion?
Mm-hmm.
Not to listen to the wisdom that she's gained, right? She's had her own life, had her own journey before y'all decided to, come together and do y'all's thing.
Right.
So there's some things that she may know, right? There are things that are going to be gifted, instinctually.
Right.
To her. And it's there to help you. This is what, fellas, you don't understand. It is there to help you. Like you said, a lot of times we're going to be bullish in how we go about things. But when we get this other side there that says, man, can you just look at it this way?
Right.
Look at it in a different manner. Just for a second. I'm not telling you not to do what you said you wanted to do. Just kind of, it's this way, turn it this way. Now look at it.
And that's right? and that's why, and I'm gonna let you go on. I think wisdom has a soft voice.
It does. It does. Right? If we really studying and looking at it, right? If we look in the book of Isaiah, it says that there is a small still voice on your left side in which you will hear. It's going to tell you which way to go. Don't turn to the left. Don't turn to the right. But this is the path. Right? Again, in Proverbs, it's saying the same thing. That I'm calling out to you. Right? That I'm standing on a hilltop.
Right.
I see you. I see what you're doing. I see where you're going. And I'm calling to you to tell you this is the way.
Right.
Right? It ain't going to be, let me get this big old mic, this big old speaker. Let me get it. It's no. At what point in time are you actually going to get still and get quiet so that you can hear what exactly is being said to you so you know what direction it is that you need to go.
As Mama say, a still tongue.
A still tongue.
Is in a wise head.
Right? Always. That voice is going to be quiet.
Right.
It's not going to be loud, right? The loudest voice in the room is normally the weakest, right? The one that's talking the most is the one that knows the least, right? Those same concepts are there in terms of wisdom.
Right.
I'm here for you. I'm waiting on you, right? But you constantly ignore me. So in your time of calamity,
I will laugh at you.
I'm going to laugh at you, and you'll still be able to hear me. It'll be the same tone, right? It's going to be the same.
That'll be the worst.
That'll be the worst part.
Because you be thinking you finna get cussed out.
Right.
Yeah, big dog. How'd that work out for you?
Yeah, it didn't.
I see you're broke.
Yeah.
Did not stand there knocking.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the toughest part, especially for the transition of men, to then understand that we do have to at times get still, and learn to listen. Yeah. Because I think society, will either put you in a position to just run head on and never take a moment to sit back and self-evaluate and assess. And you got to come to a point where you're like, man, if I'm not where I think I should be, how and whom do I go and seek out so that they can have this still soft voice and talk to me? Like Jesse said, not the loudest person, not the the one that's always wants to spout of their Pharisaical knowledge.
Right? Oh, that was good. Oh my God.
Because
man,
boy, I tell you what, you may be able to recite to me every book you've ever read. You may be able to tell me every equation. You may be able to, give me all the numbers. But if the data doesn't show that you ever applied, any of those things, I don't deem you as successful. Because again, I can read every book in the library. But if I just read one book and apply, I guarantee that the data is going to show more success to the person that applied to the person that just consumed all the knowledge. And then in our growth, how do we go to or come to a place where we no longer hold on to a relationship that no longer brings us value?
Are you at? Look, I'm like, just start right.
It looked like there was some people you might have cussed out back in the day to get away from this day.
Well, that's how I have solved it in the past. Okay. I just do away with it.
Sometimes you got to cuss them. Sometimes don't listen to that.
Got to cuss some folk out. He said, shoot, you got to get away from me with all of that for real.
Yeah.
When you come to that point, Miss J, how do you go? Man, this relationship is no longer giving what it's supposed to have gave, as my sister says. Yeah.
Right.
We gotta part ways.
Right. And especially that conclusion comes from how much I have given. How much I've overextended myself
Okay.
without the gratitude, without the
Sure.
recognition, or or without the same favor.
Yep.
Shoot, I need the love back sometimes.
Facts.
Sometimes I
Yeah.
need it back, and that part is where I conclude. When I feel I have given all I could give, I have poured into this as much as I could pour into this,
Right.
and I feel empty.
Okay.
And when I don't feel fulfilled or it's full, I have to just move around. And that could be with anybody, friends, family, relationships, anybody.
Yes.
If I have overly extended myself to the point I'm tired, I got to move around. And I don't even want to wait till I'm tired half the time. Nowadays,
Sure.
I do not. I don't
Yeah.
even wait till I'm exhausted before I make change.
Okay.
Because why am I doing that to myself? I'm not going to keep doing it over and over until I've had enough. And then now you're done.
Yeah.
Now you're drained. Now
True.
you're empty.
Yeah.
I no. So
Yeah.
I recognize signs and I see who I am to you.
Ooh.
And
That's good.
Okay.
if you don't see who I am to you, then I just
Man.
we just gotta cut it loose. Just cut it loose.
Those
And
are-
I'm cold turkey. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I don't want to drag it
Stone Cold
out.
assassin?
Yeah, I'm not trying to drag it out because I'm not trying to play you, hurt you, or any
Yeah.
of that. I'm just,
Yeah.
it's not working. I'll just move myself out of the way. I'm sorry in the
It's like
end.
a Fortune
but-
500.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I
We're not
just
saying you
gotta
can't
go.
play in this league.
Yeah.
You
Well,
just
I
can't
don't want to
play for
waste
this
your
team.
time.
Yeah.
And I don't want my time wasted. And
True.
if I'm not who I need to be for you, then that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that.
And that's one of the toughest things is coming to that realization, because I think we all have that that superhero mentality at times, that I can be everything you need.
Right.
But again, as we've referred to this many times, the Apostle Paul said, I made all things to all men in hopes
Right.
that I might save some.
Right.
He knew, man, not everybody's going to get this. Not everybody is going to come along this journey with me. I'm available,
Right.
Yeah.
to help you in wherever you're at.
Yeah.
But I understand there comes a point in time when you're just not going to get it.
Right.
You're just not, man, you're just not going to
Right.
rock with me.
Yeah.
Right.
Just as men, how do we go, okay, it's just not worth it. Especially, I think sometimes we'll have this issue, with the homies,
Yeah.
that we will hold on
Yeah.
to friends.
We're super bad about that.
How
Yeah.
do we? Because it's, as Miss J said, it's not a malicious thing,
Right.
No.
but it's a dog. You're not growing,
Yeah.
and I gotta separate.
Yeah. What purpose do you serve? Are you helping me to reach the objective, which is to master, my manhood? If that's not the case, then what can we do?
Right.
Why are we still on this interaction? Why are we still inside of it? What are we going to do? Iron sharpens iron, but if we figure out that one of us is iron and one of us, they say that when you chop some wood, is the fastest way to dull a blade, right?
Ooh.
So if you sharp, and we're all supposed to be sharp,
Right.
but one of us, decide they want to turn into a piece of wood.
Uh-oh.
And I'm constantly trying to give you, hey man, this is how we improve. This is where we're trying to go. This is what we need to do.
That's
and,
deep.
And we get nothing. Then eventually, I'm gonna be like you.
Ooh. A
I'm
piece
gonna be
of
just
wood.
like you, just a piece of wood.
Only good for
I went
shelter
from being
and
an
fire.
axe, yeah, and now I'm just a piece of wood. I'm just here. I've lost my usefulness. I've lost my purpose.
Absolutely.
Right? So no, we can't do that. Like you said, as men, we want to hang on to our boys, but man, we have to get to a point to where if we're progressing and we're growing, then these individuals have to grow with us.
Right.
And if they're showing that they're incapable of doing so, okay, I love you,
Right.
but man, we can't kick it like that.
I gotta love you from a distance.
Right.
So are you all actually verbal with it? Do you tell them, or do y'all just stop?
I've done
depends.
both.
Yeah, it
I've
depends.
done
Okay.
both because there are times when you have been through some things with that individual, whether they've been there with you through some things, you've been there with them through some things, and you guys have this bond, and like, man, we can rock with each other, big dog, because I helped you through this.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you're steadily just like, man, hey, let's, and I think that lends to the emotion that you play into that. But the older you get, you become less subjective and more objective.
Yeah.
And you take the emotion out and you're just like, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
And then I understand the danger that the detriment that you are to me by staying where you're at.
Yes.
And so because I may have went from a 5 to a 7, but you stay at a 5. Well, I can only do level 5 things with you.
Yeah.
I can't try
Yeah.
to pull you along
Yes.
to do level 7 stuff.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's right.
And at some point in time, even that level 5 is going to minimize itself.
Right.
And so you learn that, man, I got to stop swinging this dull axe
Yeah.
and go get around somebody who can sharpen me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I've got enough firewood.
Yeah. And see, I struggle with that because I read this. It's actually a podcast, Brown Skin Girl,
Okay.
self-care podcast, and I was listening to it, and she talked about women giving other women grace. Like we're so easy to, if cut our friend off or go off on her or be mad at her about her decisions on life, and not really having grace on what she may be battling or going through and stuff like that. And so, but what I battle with that conversation is how for it not to affect you, because a lot of times us as women, we, if you telling me something, you going off, I'm going off too, like, what? Yeah, and now your problem is like my problem, and we both on the phone cussing, and a lot of times I found myself getting off the phone like, dang, I'm tired. That just wore me out. That wasn't even my situation, but listen to you, I'm mad at the person too and cussing them out too, and I found that to be draining. That's a lot of energy that I just put out on your situation. So I turned cold turkey to where it was like, cut it off. You either need to A, ask me to vent, or B, don't.
Right.
Before you get on my
fair.
phone and you dumping all that on me, because I take on those emotions, and I'm going off too, and I'm mad at the guy or whatever, too. And those are not my issues. And so now I'm trying to find that happy medium where I have that grace that she talked about, on being graceful to other women and realizing that sometimes, and so it's a struggle. It is a struggle on cutting cold turkey and what you say no to or what you allow to have access to you versus still kind of being there, showing up, pouring into, helping. It's, I mean,
I agree. And it's something Jesse said when we talked about the episode of friendship. He said a friend puts themselves in the midst. And, I believe he would feel this too, but there's also a wisdom you must apply, as you said, because as a friend, a real friend is going to put themselves in what you have going on.
Right.
Yes.
But at some point in time, if it becomes a debt to me, I got to remove myself because you're not being a friend essentially to where I'm at.
Right.
And if you haven't asked me, hey, do you have a moment to talk? And this conversation might get a little, I'm a little animated.
Right. Check my mental first.
That's one thing that we do with each other, me and Jesse is, hey, bro, you got a minute? And hey, dog, like, I'm heated right now.
Yeah.
Like, okay, go ahead.
Let me be aware.
Yeah, let me prepare.
See, when we don't do that, they get on the phone immediately. I'm like, oh, Lord. Okay, hold on. Y'all, give me a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I got to walk away real quick because this phone call's going to get ugly.
Yeah.
Sure.
Take you off speaker.
Right.
Hold on. But and I would love, if we would implement that more.
Okay.
Can I vent? Do you mind? Do you have a second? Do you have
Sure.
a moment? Can I dump? Can I, share, overly share or whatever? But it's necessary because a lot of times, and then be accepting to a no. Be accepting to the word no.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Because then our feelings get
offended.
hurt.
Yeah. Now you offended. Now you don't want to talk to me no more. You don't want to share it with me no more. I talk to somebody else. It's all ugly.
Right.
Because I said no.
Yes.
And you have taken it in a negative way, and my no didn't mean that.
Sure. And I feel like, and Jesse, maybe you can elaborate on this because you talk a lot about, the language that we speak. No is always going to carry a negative connotation.
Right.
Because that's just its purpose.
Yeah.
It's never not going to be negative.
Yeah.
How do my intent is no. Like, I can't take this right now. how do we, in the context of friendships and even in relationships,
Yeah.
go from, I need to tell you we can't have this conversation, but I have to find another word other than no.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. So, no, we had to go from a negative space to next opportunity. We take the economic and the sales definition of no. No is never taken personally in sales, right? It's always next opportunity.
Right.
So the same thing will apply to our friendships and relationships. It's, I'm telling you no right now because right now is not the best opportunity for us to speak about this. But the next opportunity that we have to speak about this, we will, and we'll really get down through there. You'll have my undivided attention. We're able to travel it through the different stages, the emotional stages, because obviously it's something that's going to be a little weighty. So we're going to have to kind of dissect and, have a whole session about it. But I think being able to communicate that at a higher level is going to be helpful. And, let them know, like, yeah, of course it's all love. Like, don't take my no as,
rejection.
You're right. Because most people go no, and then they bring it back. One of the things that I've noticed.
You told me no.
Well, the last time I tried to talk to you, you told me no. So, I can't.
Like rejection. 'Cause that's kind of how it feels,
Yes. And that lets us know that, their emotional intelligence is not where it needs to be.
Right.
Because no one is rejecting you.
Yeah.
Right? It's never a personal rejection. And if you take that no as such, that means that there is some work that you still need to do.
Sure.
Because some point and place in your life, listen, that rejection, that wound is still there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay? So it's one of those things that us being able to articulate that, hey, we still value them. At the same time, I'm not in position to help you right now. Right? Give me 30 minutes.
Right.
Give me an hour. Maybe tomorrow, and we'll get down through there.
Like you said, let me set some time
Let me set some time
aside.
aside. You're
Absolutely.
important, right? You
Especially
important.
to hear what you're going to say.
Yeah.
And take it in and understand and give feedback if need be, or advice or whatever. But on the spot, it's just it's not going to work for me at all times.
Right.
I'm not available unto you at all times. I'm just not.
Right.
Sure.
And that's the crazy part, is that we as people have to understand, not everyone's available to you all the time.
Right. Right.
And until we, as Jesse said, develop that emotional intelligence, because that's what children think.
Right.
Yes.
My son, being 18 months, he feels I should always be available to him whenever he wants.
Yeah.
It's like the other day, play, you going to sit at this gate and cry. Because right now I got some stuff to do. And I have to get this done so that we can continue to live.
Right.
So you're just going to cry right now.
Right.
And then after, a little bit, he really started playing. But if we never, move from that position of you have to be available to me at all times, nobody is the creator.
Right.
He's the only one who's
the only one.
omnipresent,
Right.
omnipotent, all-knowing, and all-powerful.
Yeah.
And that brings me back to me with this. This thing, I have to have it. I'm serious.
Understandable.
This
Yeah, I
phone
get it.
gets on my nerves.
Sure.
Because in the mind, you have it.
Yes.
People see you with it. So
Yes.
automatically, she always got her phone in her hand. I know she got her phone. I know she
Right.
can respond to my text and call. I don't want to.
Facts.
I will when I get
Facts.
ready.
This phone is for work.
Yeah.
I'm not always using it just, haphazardly.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I have to have that respect for others also.
That's huge. That's huge. People think that they send you a message that you're supposed to respond right then.
Yes,
as if you don't have
no.
other responsibilities and things and you have going on. Like
My
you don't have a
mind
life.
my mind
Yeah.
not on that text you just sent right now.
Yeah.
My mind is on this because if I deviate from this and text back to this, I forgot where I have to focus. I operate different.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to focus on what I'm doing at hand, and then when I'm sitting and I'm doing nothing, which is hardly ever, I could text you back.
Right.
But still, I'm on my own time. Don't rush me and don't be mad at me for not responding back or calling back when I was supposed to. It didn't happen.
Yep. I completely agree. But before we get out of here, Mr. J, what I'd love for you to share with the family is since you've been on your journey and just reassessing the value of yourself. What would you say has probably been one of the most important things you've learned?
God. This journey it's been one.
Okay.
Because it has me evaluating everything about me, that I thought I already knew.
Okay.
And I realize I'm different now. What I think is different. What I want out of life is different. Where I'm headed is different. The circle I keep is different. Like even doing this with you all on this podcast is different for me, and I enjoy it because y'all bring stuff out of me like this question that makes me have to channel into my thoughts because I've always did away with my thoughts, and you ain't supposed to think that, or I'm not supposed to feel that way. I've always suppressed them.
Okay.
So now I'm at this place where I am tuning into those thoughts and talking more to myself out loud.
Sure. That's
I
all
have
right.
to. Yeah. I gotta talk to myself because if I don't, I feel like I'm gonna go crazy. But so I feel like I always thought of value as of what I brought to the relationship, far as what I bring to the table, far as my jobs, and money, and I always looked at value in that way. And then I've realized on learning my partner how valuable I am to him in different ways. And it's because it's verbally said to me. And so it makes me tune into, well, dang, I guess I am a good nurturer. Or, I guess. And so now I'm channeling into those values that I have within me naturally.
Yes.
Who I am naturally. I clean and, you can get in the kitchen, cook, you can organize, you work, you can multitask, you're a nurturer, So now I value me in a different way. And I'm learning more and more about who I am and what I bring to the table outside of money or in a career.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So I could say the least by every day I'm valuing me more.
Okay.
I'm valuing who I am and what I am more. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's important. Once you learn yourself more and more, you start to value yourself more and more. And you know your value in the relationship, especially where that person may be weak. So
those are facts, Jesse. Share with the family, and a little bit more, towards the fellas. You've been on this earth for a strong decade.
I know, right?
For good decades, man. It's crazy to think.
Ooh.
How has your outlook on value changed now, stepping into manhood?
Yeah, it's it went from being extrinsic. So now it's intrinsic, right? I used to place value on, the things that I could do. Used to place value on, being a good athlete or being a people pleaser and all of that. When now that I've progressed, in age, in both maturity, I understand that my value is in who I am. And the value is in the work and who I'm becoming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? So I focus more on the becoming than who I used to be.
Sure.
So a lot of people you run into, they knew you from those years past.
Yeah.
They knew you in undergrad. They knew you in those former relationships that weren't very present. But I find solace in the fact that I'm able to become a new creature. Whenever I decide. So now we're looking at the element of change. A lot of people get downtrodden and discouraged because they don't think they could ever change. But change comes about whenever you make the decision, the choice. Sir. So once you have the thought of change and you have the language of change, and then the action of change then turns into the behavior and becomes a rhythm.
Yes.
We talked about all the time that evolution is a part of the process of being a human being.
Yes. And
so people get caught up, they think it's a physical one, but no, it's not. It has to be a mental and emotional evolution that takes place in order for you to become that which you should. So, being 40, I'm looking at things a little differently now.
Yeah.
The value of people and the value of myself and then how those things intertwine are now differently. Yes. Now I'm able to say, listen, that empathy level, it has to come up. That grace level has to come up. The way in which I speak to other people, it has to come up. So the improvement on a daily basis, it's intentional.
Yes.
The changing of my language has to be intentional because I'm the responsible party. Not just, to myself, but I'm responsible to all those that I come into contact with. And so people go, well, you said this back in the day, you right, and I was wrong as hell for saying that.
Yes.
So now that I've elevated myself, I've elevated my language, I can correct it. And I work so hard at it now that people are it's hard for them to believe
Yes.
The
That
change.
within 6 months, within a year, within 18 months or 3 years, that your mind can elevate because your language has, and they don't understand. Well, why do you operate in this particular manner?
You're not the old Jay.
Right.
Like
Right.
You can't be.
Yes.
I'm sorry that you decided to be stuck where you are.
Right.
Yes.
That's a choice that you made.
Right.
Right? But I am not you, right?
Right.
You can't project who you are on me. And I will not allow you to project who I used to be on who I am now.
Ooh-wee.
Those are facts. Those are facts. Family,
Absolutely.
what I'll leave you guys is with this, is that titles without action don't bring value. And so what I mean is, just because somebody is your parent, grandparent, aunt, uncle, teacher,
Yes.
boss, if they are not producing actions of value in your life, you need to detach yourself from those situations,
Yes,
because
sir.
they are a debt
Yes,
to
sir.
you. And we, too often will continue to allow people that used to have a place of authority in our lives, as Jesse talks about all the time, give us the unwanted and unwarranted opinion of where I should be, or where I, was, but not where I'm going, as you said. So to all of those people, and here, if you're one of those people that feel like just because you are a parent, aunt, uncle, used to be boss, or you hold this degree, you really need to assess the actions you're taking, and do they actually bring value into someone's life, because value is never absent of action.
Nope. It is
And
not.
so if I say that I value you, then I'm going to produce actions that let you know
Yes.
the value that I have
Yes, sir.
for you.
Yes, sir.
Family, I really appreciate you guys for tuning in with us today. We know today would not have been what it was had you not sat and
I feel
listened with us.
churchy.
But make sure that you tune in for part 2, as we're going to take a little bit deeper dive. You guys make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to our Apple podcast and Spotify. Y'all have a great day.